I stand for the negative side, and I would like to propose the opening statement for our team. Our team believes that higher developed countries do not have a higher obligation to combat climate change compared to developing countries. But before I go into my arguments, I would like to define some of the terms that I will be using in this debate. First of all, I would like to define the meaning of the developing countries and the developed countries. By developed countries, I would be referring to countries that have already gone through intensive industrial growth, and those countries that have I would like to put the border between the developed countries and the developing countries at the half point of the countries on the economic spectrum. Also, I would like to define climate change as any change in our climate that, regardless to the cause, whether it's natural or caused by humans. I would like to introduce my first argument. My first argument is that although in the history the developed countries could have played a larger role in the intensification of the climate change we face today, but today we all live in the same planet, and regardless of whether the country is developed or not, and regardless of how much the country in question contributed to the climate change, all the countries should have the same responsibility towards climate change, because even if a country doesn't act as much as another country just because it says it has not emitted that much greenhouse gases or contributed to any kind of climate change in the past or in the present, if that country fails to act appropriately, then every country on the face of our planet will suffer, and the countries will suffer greatly, because climate change doesn't affect only humans, but affects other animals and plants in the ecosystem that we hold so invaluable. My second argument is that just because the developed countries could have contributed more to climate change in the past, as we are speculating, doesn't mean that what they did in the past really shows up as a result that we see today. Even scientists and environmentalists that strongly believe that we should act now say that the causes of climate change can also be a natural one, and there could be a cycle in which the global climate changes regularly. And if that is the contributing reason for the climate change we see today, then it doesn't mean that the developed countries hold a higher responsibility in any matter. My third argument will be that in a democratic society, no one has a larger responsibility or a larger voice in what we should do, and everyone should participate equally in the global action to combat climate change. And be the reason, it could be natural or it could be because of mankind's industrialization. It doesn't mean that everyone has to participate equally in the process, so that we could all have a more efficient and more long-standing change in our battling of climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, I yield my time.